Hey, welcome back everybody. Welcome back to my channel, Amused Jester. My name is Junior. Today, we're going to take a look at two of Mattel creations, or Mattel um, cartoon collection. But before we do that, I just want to do a quick update on my Panthor situation with the Mattel's exclusive. So what happened was my Mattel's exclusive Panthor had a stuck jaw, and I reached out to Mattel. They decided to go ahead and give me a replacement, sent me a printing label for FedEx. I went ahead and sent it off, but there's no close FedEx to my site. I went and Googled the closest FedEx drop site, which happens to be a Walgreens. And I'm going to tell you now, that's exactly where the problem began. Once they scanned it, they send you a notification in your phone. And there's no paperwork. So when you get that, honestly, my first advice is don't go to Walgreens. Don't go to any third-party drop-off site in FedEx. What happens is, as long as FedEx does not get possession of that box, as long as FedEx does not scan it into their system, there's no proof that FedEx has it. Honestly, in their mind, FedEx does not have possession of the item. What has possession of your item is Walgreens. Now, Walgreens system as a third-party drop-off site for FedEx is crap. There's nothing for them to trace. They can't trace your package by your name, by your address, or anything of that sort. All they care about is it went through their system, they received it, they sent you the notification, and then once FedEx picks it off, they wash their hands off of it. There is no record of your package after that. So what happened with mine was exactly that. And when I checked 2 weeks later, asking Mattel if they received it, they have no history whatsoever. Transaction history, tracking history has expired after 2 weeks because I checked it 2 weeks after. I assumed it would take that long. And so there's no trace whatsoever. And then when I checked my notification on my phone finally 2 weeks later, because I assumed everything was doing fine, all I got from the actual notification was, if you're interested in receiving further tracking on your phone, press reply yes, and if you don't, it expires. So I never did that. I never checked the notification. All I cared was like, oh, they scanned it, I heard the ding, everything's good to go. So this is the replacement. As you can see now, it actually comes down. So thank goodness for that. So how did I get a replacement if FedEx lost it? So I've been going back and forth on FedEx. They say that since the Mattel was the one who actually initiated the printing label, they're the ones who needs to waive the shipper fee. They need to give me a shipper waiver so that they can process it with me. Otherwise, they can't talk about it or anything. And I was getting very upset because I didn't want to have to go through this hassle of everything. Oh, look at that. I think mine had a very loose ankle or elbow. This one's very nice and tight. So I was going back and forth, and I was expressing my, being upset to the customer service at Mattel, even though it's not their fault. But FedEx and Walgreens, I guess somebody over there at Mattel finally felt pity on me and just sent me a replacement. So I'm very, very thankful for the Mattel customer service on that. They didn't have to do that because it's not their fault that it got lost in the mail. It's FedEx and Walgreens. And so I just went ahead and I just got this today. I went ahead and dropped the claim on FedEx. I don't really care. I don't want to have to go through the stress and hassle of all that crap. So they can keep it. Whoever stole that package, and I know it's stolen, either from Walgreens. I think it was from Walgreens, honestly. Somebody over there just stole it, and they're never mind about it. Anyway, so let's do the review on this one. This is He-Man and the Masters of the Universe Tri-klops on Manifest. And the only reason why I'm pointing towards Walgreens is that somebody over there knows the system, that has, once somebody drops it off and before FedEx gets it, nobody can prove a thing that your package is in Walgreens. You know, especially if you didn't even have the text. Because I don't know about you, but my phone deletes notifications after a week or two. That's just the way it goes. Otherwise, it will get bogged down with notifications and text. And with my system, with my phone, there's no way to recover those notifications unless you preemptively um, tell your phone to, I think, archive all your notifications, which this is the first time it's happened to me in decades worth of of sending over. So I think somebody took advantage of that in their system. And that's the only thing I can think of. Because once it enters FedEx manifests, once it's been scanned, there's nothing they can do. Whoever stole it from FedEx, there would be proof that FedEx got it. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And of course, if Walgreens actually released the item to the FedEx, they would have to make sure that FedEx, whoever from FedEx came in to take it, would have scanned it into the system, and then they can release it so they're free of libel. So that's why I know for sure it's got to be somebody from Walgreens. Sorry if anybody who watched this is from Walgreens. This is the only logical way you can lose an item in the process of that whole thing. So this is the cartoon collection, Man-E-Faces, Heroic Human, and Tri-klops. And now that the Mattel Panthor is out of my system and I'm no longer stressed all about it, I even before I received it, because I received this yesterday, I was already thinking, man, this really, really looks good. And I was thinking, such a shame that my whole situation with Panthor is going on. But now that it's off of my mind, I can again appreciate these for what they are. So let me go ahead and unbox it really quickly, and we'll see what's going on with this one. All right, so we're back. It's the Slime Lord Part 2 of the Horde Invasion comic book. This one has words, so that's good. That one's good. And it's got the instructions, pamphlet, and everything. Man-E-Faces does not come with anything. Tri-klops comes with this, which I'm sure is a cartoon-specific episode. It's just basic plastic with this red dot over here. Who do we want to deal with? Which, you know, it's funny that these two came together. But before I comment on that, let me straighten them out, as I would love to do, because I every time I see this one, every time I see this on packaging, I always wonder, it's like, man, why did I even buy these? Because this looks so much like the Origins. I don't like it, but the thing of it is, the moment I straighten out these legs, everything changes for me in my perception of these things. Because what a big difference in my perception once I straighten out these legs, honestly. Everything, it just changes completely. It just changes completely in terms of stature and displayability. Anyway, so as I was saying, how weird is it that these two came together? This is Tri-klops, this is Man-E-Faces. They both have the same gimmick, meaning that you can rotate part of their head to change the look. So he's got three faces: an angry circular head eye, an angry square eye, and an angry triangle eye. While in Man-E-Faces, I don't even know how they do this. So let me see how they do this. Do you have to take off this whole thing? No. Or you twist it. Over here in the very top, it's a separate part. So that's the robot face, the man face, and the creature face. Three faces, exactly like Tri-klops. It's so funny. So obviously they both have the same type of articulation. I love that he's so grumpy over there. Tri-klops. So obviously it's the same kind of articulation, so there won't be any problem. It's really nice that they have this soft rubber, so it's not even hampering the articulation as it moves forward. He can almost do a straight, actually he can do a straight up. That's how I really like the joints on these things too. It's not floppy, it's not too hard. You know it's removable, and yet at the same time, as you rotate it, it can hold the pose well. And that's because of the in conjunction of the tightness of the joints, but also because of this material that they have for this armor. Really cool. Now this one has the elbow swivel, so that's good. And then bring it down. I love the fact that you can almost bring the 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 hand, the arm down almost straight out. And look, this is even missing from their Masterverse New Eternity line, where you can hold the hand almost straight down. With the Eternity line, because of it's sculpted, it's slightly bent because of the elbow articulation. That small piece, it always pushes it to the side, which kind of it's. And I'm not anal about this kind of things, but it's just like, man, why couldn't they have designed that small elbow piece so that you can put the hand straight down? I don't get it. The waist articulation is just a swivel. The head goes like sideways, and looks up that much, looks down by barely anything, and goes all around. And as for the legs, it doesn't quite go all the way out to 90 degrees. I think maybe you can pull it off by twisting it. No, we can't. I didn't notice that. It doesn't go full 90. And then the knee can go full 90. The ankle can go down like so, can go up like so, and a rocker. I also love the fact that I haven't never had any problems with the ankles for any of my cartoon collection. It's always been secure. And because of how this thing is designed, it's really not going to be an issue to have him holding this. This is one of the big improvements that I do recognize and appreciate from the original. Not because I think they did this already in Origins, but they can easily hold any equipment that they're supposed to hold, and there's no problem whatsoever. So I really like this. The way you pull it off is just basically pull this off, and this should come off. But I wonder how you pull off the waist. Okay, I don't usually like doing this, but I'm just curious now. Oh, I know. Because this is removable. Oh, man, I really do love this line. It's just so much. Oh, and it has a boot cut. I didn't notice that too. It's just so much playability factor in this one. Now let's go to Mani faces. I've already shown you how this thing twists. Obviously, there's not going to be any movement on the head because of that. Same articulation in terms of the hand. I like the fact, this was kind of weird for me, that how they angled the joint going this way, but I think that adds for the stability of the connection, because you can't just like pull it out straight. That angle really helps it a lot. I did notice, I will say this whole plastic seems to have been cast in blue plastic, and then they painted the flesh tone. I'm not sure, it's very, very close to this one. This one was cast in flesh toned plastic. It's very, very close. It's just this one has that sheen of the plastic, while this has the matte of the painted. And if you can see here, you can see on the inside that it is cast in blue plastic. Am I okay with that? I don't know. I think it would have been better if they had cast it in flesh tone and then painted it blue. So, especially since they could copy the flesh tone really quickly in this one. It's usually harder to paint a light colored paint on top of a dark colored material, because it's harder to get that pure light color. So I think it would have been better if they had casted this in flesh tone plastic and painted this blue, because they could almost match it, the flesh tone. So they could, I think that would have worked out much better, especially since the joints there's no armor pieces that required painting it blue. So this would have been a nice flesh tone. I don't know why they decided to do that, but there it is. Nice blue, pink or red thing here. And I suppose, I wonder if this is, oh, okay. So this one, I don't know if this was meant to match together. I don't think it is, because this thing obviously was cast in blue. This was cast in blue. So if they were able to do this kind of red, they could have easily have done this kind of red in this one as well. So I'm assuming this is a conscious choice of doing a different shade of red and not um, um, matching this one. So yeah. So and of course one of the things that there is a bleed through on the paint, but I don't really mind. I know I should, but this is just a toy for me. It's $18, so there's no high expectations for me. This is really just a fun toy. I really love the design of his calf over here, very armor like and everything. So I really like this. Now let's talk about the value in this one. Of course, now that I'm no longer hindered by my stress on my Panthor being lost, again, I'll bring this back to 12, the valuation of this one. And now that I think about it, even Hordak, this guy I'll leave at 11, not 12. Because I really do expected him to have the staff. I don't expect anything from Man-E Faces because I'm not sure if he should have had a club or something. Yeah, I'll put him at 11 as well. This one is a 12. No, I'll put this one at 11 as well because he really needs to have had not this one but the sword, a sword or something, man. It's nice to have that cartoon episode reference, but this should have had a sword or something, a weapon. Each of these Masters of the Universe figures should have a weapon, and on top of that, the episode specific thing. But honestly, maybe I don't really need this one. I just need them to have weapons. So I'll bring him 11, 11, 11 for value. Base price of I think $18 or something. Now, I wanted to talk about Mattel getting the DC license. Now, a lot of people are bummed because they love the Superpowers line that McFarlane is doing. But I pointed out in one of my posts that, okay, McFarlane does not own Kenner. Is it Kenner that used to do the Superpowers, or is it Toy Biz? I think it was Kenner. Hasbro owns Kenner, and yet for some reason McFarlane was able to produce very, very close to the packaging of what the Superpowers line was. He was able to produce exactly the molding for the Superpowers line, meaning that Kenner, the previous toy line that had it, does not own the rights to those images. Warner Brothers does, or DC does. And that's how McFarlane was able to reproduce an almost exact copy of the Superpowers line and expand on it. What does that mean? That means that now that Mattel has complete control of the license, they can easily continue the Superpowers line. Now, I am not into retro. Like I've said before, I've gone through that phase already. That's the reason why I never got into Origins. But I did go into Cartoon Collection because they did improvements on the figure, meaning that they're no longer squatting. They can do it straight. This is more cartoon accurate in terms of the colors. I love the playability factor of it. And the reason why I'm so excited that Mattel has it, I don't necessarily want Superpowers. I want them to give me a good representation of the DC line, jumping off of the DC Universe Classics, because that's the only, honestly, in my entire collection, the DC Universe Classics is the only 6-inch representation of DC for me right now. I got rid of all my McFarlane. They're all boxed up, and they're not in my visual range of my collection. They're all hidden, and I don't like doing that. Once it's out of my mind, once it's out of my sight, it's out of my mind, and it's just wasting. So honestly, in Mattel, what I'm expecting from Mattel once they get the DC Universe Classics line is something very close to what they're doing with Masters of the Universe. Now here's a representation of Masters of the Universe. This is actually the 40th anniversary of He-Man. This is not necessarily the head that comes with it, but as you can see, it doesn't have any pins. It's got full articulation and everything. Now they're using a standard buck, and I don't mind that. And honestly, even with McFarlane, he's now using standard bucks as well for the easier ones. The problem that I had with McFarlane is he started switching body parts that are not meant to be switched around. It makes it like, that's the reason why he usually has some large forearms or longer forearms or larger hands and squat thighs compared to the long calves and everything, because he's switching body parts that are not meant to be switched around. He doesn't even bother to create different bucks, like multiple bucks, like how Marvel Legends does theirs. With Marvel Legends, you have multiple types of bucks. You have a buck for Thor, you have a buck for Reed Richards, you have a buck for Captain America. They're different bucks, and they don't, they usually don't switch around body part. Like, you'll never see the forearm of Thor on a Reed Richards hand, or you'll never see a hand of Thor to a Reed Richards body type. But that's what McFarlane is doing in some of his figures. That's why some of his figures, they're like really weirdly proportioned. This is getting on longer, but I should have put this on a different video. But okay, so this is what I'm hoping for my regular DC 6-inch figures from Mattel. Now, as for the Superpower line, since they will have access to that kind of figure buck and that kind of design, I'm really hoping that they will approach the Superpowers line. And if they do this, then I would go into the Superpowers again. I'm really hoping that they'll approach the Superpowers line how they approach Cartoon Collection. What do I mean by that? I mean the fact that you can disassemble this and there's nothing wrong with it. Added articulation. Superpowers line, they don't even have elbow articulation. I don't even think they have knee articulation. Added articulation to the figure and still retain the look of Superpowers. And what else? Retain the look of the Superpowers. The fact that you can move replace body parts. Because the way they did this thing is so solidly built. It really is so solidly built. There's no, you're not going to be afraid of, oh my God, my arm fell off. Oh my God, my waist turned apart. It's supposed to come like that. The cool thing too is like they have body armor that you can put on. That's what's making me excited about Mattel getting DC again. Because Mattel, look at this line. They have Massiverse, they have New Eternia, they have Origins, they have Cartoon Collection, they have Mega Constructs for the smaller part. Man, Mattel is just all over when it comes to Masters of the Universe. I'm really hoping they will do the same thing for DC. Anyway, that's it for my review of Tri-klops and Man-E Faces. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.